trying to call timeout, but Kyle Lowry and his intensity.
At the end of the 2022 and 23 NBA season, the Bucks had the best record in the East, but the injuries and playoff Jimmy, among other things, stopped them from reaching the second round. Giannis was angry and gave the Bucks an ultimatum: get me some help or I'm thinking about my options. Naturally, the front office was scared of losing him and pulled all the moves necessary to bring another big name to Milwaukee.
Damian Lillard is officially a member of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Blazers star Damian Lillard being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks.
This was supposed to be the clean slate for both Giannis and the franchise. Instead, all we've got was another first-round exit against Indiana. Sure, you can't blame the team 100% since Giannis got hurt, but there were many other issues with their game even before that. Now that the Bucks are at 3-8 at the moment, almost the same type of scenario is rumored to happen soon. Either something improves for the Bucks drastically, or Giannis is thinking about the door. But what would this mean for the NBA? This move could make a massive earthquake in the league, and everything that seemed predictable until this point would be completely changed overnight. Hello basketball fans, and welcome to Hoop Vision. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Takes only a second, costs nothing, and will give you access to more basketball stories. Dame coming to Milwaukee was supposed to make them the biggest threat in the East. He was coming from an all-star season in Portland, averaging 32 points and 7 assists per game. Giving away Drew Holiday seemed pricey at first, but at the end of the day, it was Dame. The biggest irony was that Drew ended up with a ring while the Bucks are still scratching their heads. So what went wrong? If you recall, everything was different back in 2023. The Bucks were champions just 2 seasons prior, Coach Bud was still in charge, and Chris Middleton was not considered an old man he is today. It's true, they needed some improvements, but losing to Miami in round 1 made them press the panic button, which in retrospect could have been avoided. The Blazers, on the other hand, were near the bottom of the West, stuck going nowhere with Dame. Their last big moment was in the 18-19 season when they got all the way to the conference finals, but everyone knew they had no chance against the Warriors. After that, it was only 2 consecutive first-round exits and then 2 more seasons without the playoffs at all. In other words, both Portland and Milwaukee needed a fresh start. The only thing is, the Bucks changed the wrong thing. Back in 20 and 21, when they won the championship, their defense was ranked 9th in the league and their offense was 6th, both top 10 in the league. At the end of 2023, their defense was 4th while their offense was 12th. This may indicate they should have improved their offense, right? They did exactly that and ruined the team in the process. They completely focused on improving the offense by getting Dame instead of noticing one important thing. They were the #1 seed with 12th offensive rating, meaning it was their defense that made them special. And what gets more important once the playoffs begin? It's not shooting logo threes, that's for sure. The fact they panicked so hard still confuses some fans to this day, as they clearly lacked the scoring from injured Giannis. Someone needed to tell them there was nothing wrong with them. Giannis basically started the series in Game 4, so it's no surprise the Heat took advantage. Instead, they traded away Drew, who finished 8th in voting for a Defensive Player of the Year award that season. When you send away a point guard who's playing elite defense and has smart shot selection to get a Steph Curry wannabe, it's like you deserve everything that comes your way. However, it's not like Milwaukee did this on purpose. It's just that they wanted to improve, but they took all the wrong steps. In fact, the beginning of this Dame experiment didn't start bad at all. The Bucks ended December 2023 as the 2nd seed with a 24-8 record, just behind the Celtics. Boston did look like the top dog in the East, but Milwaukee wasn't bad as well. Everyone thought the conference finals would be a clash between the Celtics and either Philly or Milwaukee. If Giannis was healthy during the series against Indiana, they would have advanced for sure, but there was another problem that destroyed their last season, and still persists to this day. In January 2024, the Bucks came to the point of being 30-13, right after winning against the all-time bad Pistons. Still, the front office confirmed what had been rumored for a while. Adrian Griffin was no longer the head coach, and instead, Doc Rivers was supposed to take his place. This was probably the reaction of every fan in Milwaukee at the time. Doc is notorious for avoiding the responsibility for bad results and shifting the blame towards his players. Some reports have stated that he was one of the main reasons Ben Simmons refused to return to Philly, and his relationship with JJ Redick isn't the best after going back and forth on TV and social media. The only reason Doc is still getting head coach gigs is that 08 title with the Celtics, but let's be real. You could have probably led that OP team to the title as well, so it's not like it adds too much weight to his coaching resume. Unfortunately, the NBA execs think the opposite, so the next franchise Doc will ruin are the Bucks. And on top of everything, he hired Darvin Ham him as his assistant. It's like he's trolling us at this point. Doc has already established a negative winning record since taking over the team, and their ratings are among the worst in the league. The Bucks are 20th in offense in the NBA and 18th in defense, stuck in mediocrity until they bleed out all the chances of keeping Giannis as the face of the franchise. And just to prove the point from before, last season, with Doc in charge, they ended up 6th in offense but with a 19th defensive rating, which means it was never about the lack of offense at all. They didn't need Dame to begin with. If they just improved the bench, it would have been enough for another serious run. There's no going back in time now, and Giannis is absolutely unhappy with how things are in Milwaukee. If nothing changes, the trade rumors are tying him with teams like the Nets, Heat, Warriors, and OKC. But Giannis has a huge, and we mean really huge contract, so not every franchise can afford him despite how many draft picks they're able to offer. So the basketball media favors one team above all to land Giannis, and that's the Rockets. They have the cap space, they have the draft assets to move, and they have the young guys who will enter their prime with Giannis keeping the bus driving seat. However, there's a reason why the Bucks might keep their superstar despite being the team performing so bad this year. After this season, guys with a player option in their contract are Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, and Pat Connaughton. Brooke Lopez, Taurean Prince, and a couple of other guys are free agents in the summer, so Milwaukee will have plenty of cap space in case they decide to free up some roster spots, which they'll definitely do. This would enable them to sign a much different set of players to improve the defense, which is one of the worst in the league, and actually give them a chance next year. The Bucks never had a problem of putting the basketball through the net, but stopping other teams is a nightmare for them currently, especially on the perimeter. That's no surprise considering Dame's defensive efforts, but even he could be saved by getting a good defensive guard to play next to him. Unfortunately, this scenario doesn't look realistic as Middleton has a gigantic $34 million player option next year, and he'll 100% take it as no other franchise would offer him that kind of money, especially with his injury-prone status. They might bring some valuable big men after parting ways with Lopez, who took $23 million of cap space. It's not like we're hating on Brooke, but he's just a shadow of himself right now, and things are not looking good for Milwaukee's defense. Right now, the bottom last team in the East are the Raptors, with only one win less than the Bucks, so it'll take a lot of changes to get out of that garbage time zone. If Giannis can mature to the point of pulling the team up from this swamp, that would be one of the biggest comebacks in the history of the league. If not, there's a long series of discussions between him, the teammates, and the front office, and they might end up with the Greek Freak putting on a jersey that's not green and white. That's it for today, Hoop Fam. We hope you've enjoyed this video. Let us know in the comments if you think Giannis will get traded or not. Thank you for watching and growing this channel. Make sure you don't miss out on more NBA stories by hitting that subscribe button. See you in the next one.